Hello, race fans. Welcome to another episode of Short Track Guys Podcast, brought to you in part by Story Bleich Roofing. We've got you covered. Metal, slate, tile, asphalt, and shingle. They're locals you can trust. Story Bleich Roofing right here in Pensacola, Florida. I'm your host, Thomas Faddis, alongside two other short track guys in the studio as always. Jim Pokrant, driver of the 07 Can'tQuitFishing.com sportsman and 2021 sportsman champion, and Ted Baber, the Ted Baber Video Productions. What's up, guys?
Feeling better. I hope you are too.
I am.
Yeah, glad you're back with the land of the living there, Thomas.
That's it. You know, nothing but a little bit of rest and preparation for the next week. It'll do you some good. But we're all good to go here. Season 3, Episode 10. Guys, all I can say is we're going to do a little rundown, but I'll get back to this. But 24 days. Just keep that in mind. Mm-hmm. November 17th, the Snowball Derby pageant, downtown historic Pensacola at Seville Quarter. Get in touch with FiveFlagSpeedway.com. They will get in touch with who you need to get to sign up. That's going to be a big deal on the 17th of November. The Snowball Derby, Miss Snowball Derby pageant, downtown Pensacola. The preview the next day, November 18th, the Crown Stock 40. Now the 40 lap. We're going to get into that a little bit more. We've got some big news here coming just west of us at Mobile, some upgrades that we're going to go over. All-American 400 coming up at Nashville this weekend. Ooh, we've got a barn burner, some news we're going to get to do in that segment. Big news also with the entry list of Snowball Derby week. We're going to get to who and how. Let's see. Winchester 400 results we had a week and a half ago after our little...
little bump and run.
Yeah, a little bump and run there. But the Winchester 400, it was a good. We got some controversy we're going to get over, too. That's going to be a really good conversation. The 2023 ACT Championship, we're going to congratulate him at New London Waterford Speed Bowl up there in Connecticut. Carson Hosebar's got some big news. We're going to not quite get out of the bag yet, but Carson Hosebar makes our list of news for this week. And the results from the Halloween 150 at the Dells Raceway Park this past weekend. And we do hope you... got a chance to listen to last week's episode, a little throwback when John DeAngelis Jr. We got some news and not so much controversy, but some upsetting news really there at the Halloween 150 there at Dells Raceway Park in Wisconsin. And we got some congratulations there coming to the end. Let's go back to the 17th here in November coming up with the pageant and the preview on the 18th.
Yeah.
Yep, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is a year-long adventure that you get to go to all the races, which to me it is well worth it.
Oh, yeah.
And you get to represent the track all over wherever you go and wherever the track may have some representation being made. So have fun with that.
Yeah, and it's a neat pageant. They do a really good job with it every year, and they pick the best of the best. And, you know, we've got a lot of pretty young ladies that try to do it every year, and hopefully this year we'll get a new one, and it'll be different, and it'll be pretty cool. I went last year. It was a pretty neat experience.
Yeah, cash and a crown and responsibility for being Miss Snowball Derby year-round. Right. It's a great experience, and who knows? Could open up some doors down the road from them. The preview, the Super Late Models, Pro Late Models Outlaws, Modifieds and Mayhem, Pro Truck Sportsman Pure Stock, and the Crown Stock 40 on the 18th. Boy, I tell you what, free practice, preview for everybody. Go out and watch. That's going to be one heck of a day to kick off the Derby season, I would say. It's not a week now. It's now a Derby season.
Well, at least for right now. They're going to eventually put the Crown Stocks on the regular Derby weekend. It's just a matter of trying to logistically get them in there, and they couldn't do it this year. Oh, they are going to have an exhibition race Saturday, I believe. So, or it's Friday or Saturday. So they're going to get to race, but only 12 of them. So it's just going to be a quick, probably a 20-lap feature just to show them off a little bit to the people from out of town. So that's going to be pretty neat. And there's cars coming from all across the country to race on the 18th. So, I mean, I'm going to practice my car, and then when I'm done, it's going back on the trailer, and I'm going to pop a beer and sit on the back of my truck and watch the Crown Stock race, because that's going to be a barn burner for 40 laps.
Yeah. They're going to have a lot of fun. Like you say, they're coming from everywhere, so we don't know who's going to show up. And I guess they're going to do something about trying to consolidate rules so you get a fair race anyway,
Yeah. My opinion on that is if our rule book says this, you should be that. if people want to come in and bolt weight, but the problem with that is then they get to bolt the weight where they want to, and it's an advantage.
Yeah.
If you're going to do that, make them bolt it right in the center of the car. Okay, you want to run 100 extra pounds? It's going to be right there. Or in the right front floorboard. That'll help you out. That'll slow you down just a little bit.
That'll make you feel real good.
Going to be a good show Saturday on the 18th. And like I said, come out to the pageant, support the girls, support the track. It's a neat pageant. Like I said, I went last year. It's the first time I went. I had a good time, so it'd be good to go.
No.
Yeah, and as far as the locals of that crown stock, I don't know that we really have a tally on what kind of number we're looking for as far as entries go. We'll certainly keep our eyes out for that and bring it up. But as of right now, I'm not sure how many.
I've seen the 50-lap crown stock race. It's an adventure.
That's on a quarter mile. This is a half mile, so it's going to be even better. But it's going to be a great race. I mean, it's going to be something that's worth going out there and spending a few bucks to see.
Yeah. How many cars do you expect? Maybe just out of the
I'm
ballpark?
going to go 30 to 40
Right.
at least.
At least, I would say, because there's a bunch of them coming from South Florida. They're probably coming from up north. They're probably people all playing because this is a snowball derby win regardless.
Yeah, right.
So
You think they'll let everybody run?
I would imagine there may be some. I mean, if you get coming here and you got a blower sticking through the hood or something, they might, no, or something. But they've got to get some rules right in that class too. There's a few of them running some stuff they're not supposed to have. So, same thing with us. We need to get a rules package. We need to stick with it, and they need to keep the promoter and the race director need to stay out of tech and let the tech man do his job.
I haven't seen how they plan on qualifying. If they're going to actually do qualifying, or they're going to just draw for position.
I think they're going to qualify them.
Well, I would hope.
Yeah. So, I think we're going to practice till like 7:00 and then practice will be over. Then they'll qualify. And then I think their race is at 8 or something like that.
Yeah. 40 laps.
Yep. It'll take a while.
40 laps, crown stock excitement there on the 18th, the preview, and it is free. So that is the best price you can.
Yep.
Worth the price.
Yeah, well worth the price.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The price
no
of admission is awesome.
Yeah. So we'll travel a little west of here. A sister track there with Mobile International. I think we got some news with some upgrades.
Yeah, Eddie and them have been working really hard this winter, and finally the grandstands in that place. I mean, it's nobody's fault. It's just age. The boards were rotten. Some of the metal was rusty, and the grandstands were terrible. And, man, Eddie McDonald and them are working their butts off this winter, getting new grandstands put up. The Nights and Lights is there. They have the Halloween thing where you ride around the track. That's something you ought to go see if you get a chance. It's pretty neat. While they're doing that, Eddie and them are up there working on the track. And from what I understand, they're getting new concession cooking utensils, some stoves, some different stuff. Wow. They're going to upgrade the grandstands. They're going to upgrade the concession stands, and it's going to be pretty cool. I mean, it's something's been needing to be done there for a very long time, right. And I think we have a promoter that is going to finally put the money in and make it back. Because, I mean, the last 4 races he had there, the grandstands were almost full. The pits were full of cars. And I say support Eddie next year. If you got a race car, come run at least a couple times. Try to help the man out.
Right. Get out there and have some fun and keep that track open, because at the rate they're leaving the planet right now, we don't know how long.
Yeah, there's rumors that Southern Raceway may not open next year, and I'm going to say it. I mean, my biggest fear with Five Flags is all the houses being built around it and the property being worth a whole crap ton of money, and it's worth more than what the racetrack's worth, which is what happened to Rockford, Illinois. Right. Same thing with Devil's Bowl. This past weekend was the last race at Devil's Bowl Speedway in Texas. It's closed. That place has been open since the 40s.
I've heard of a couple others, too, that are going down. I can't think of the names right now, but they're closing left and right. So get out and support them if you want to keep it going.
Yeah, but even then, it's sad because the property values are worth more than what the racetrack is, and people that promote it just get tired of the promotion. So,
And I get tired of hearing people fussing, get on Facebook and bash the track. Nah, can't be doing that.
That's one thing sucks about social media, to be very honest.
Yep.
It's a terrible thing when people bash a racetrack and it closes, and then they sit around and whining and know where to watch races.
Honest criticism is one thing. Just slamming it is no good.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Nights and Lights must be the show, but the work keeps continuing at Mobile International Speedway. Towards turn 1, looks like from the pictures we see that a lot is going on over there to make 2024 a better experience for fans. If you can even top what competition they've got over there with the stands going to be like they are, it's even better.
All right.
Well, we've got a big one coming up, the ASA Stars National Tour. This is the last one coming down to the wire between two of the guys that we have mentioned. I don't know how many years now since we got started. Ty Majeski and Cole Butcher. As of Madison, the last time Majeski win, I think he's got 3. By the way, that's going to come up here in just a second with a tiebreaker in case that does happen. He had a 93-point lead. And now it's down to 8 with this last race at Nashville.
Yeah, thanks to Dalton Zier for dumping him. But, hey, man, Tom Majeski's been doing a great job, and Cole Butcher's no slouch. That kid won the Oxford 250 the last 2 years in a row. He's ready to rock. So it's going to come down to those two at Nashville at a historic racetrack.
Yep.
That's going to be a battle. And, I mean, Majeski ain't going to give an inch, and neither is Cole Butcher. Who knows what's going to happen?
We know how Majeski can massage you out of the way to take a win, but we'll just have to see.
Well, they both can. Yeah. You know how to move people, but you got to be able to do it carefully without wrecking them, which,
without invoking the ire of the officials.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, moving somebody's one thing, and then, there's some stuff we're going to talk about later some moving and wrecking and people getting suspended and things like that have happened this past couple of weeks. But I'm going to tell you what, that All-American 400 is probably going to be one of the best ones in history. I guarantee it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look forward to the results with that one. That one's the 3rd, 4th, and 5th of November, so it's not this weekend, but the following weekend we'll touch on. I'm sure there's going to be some more news coming this way for next week in the episode 11. Some big news elsewhere here locally with the Snowball Derby entries that are coming in just about every minute. We've got some big news with some names that we haven't mentioned since the last time we were on, actually. But one of those is Jeremy Mayfield.
Oh, yeah. I was just fixing to say that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and he's driving a local driver's car.
Bubba Winslow. Yeah. Well, Bubba Winslow's been doing a lot of crew chiefing on late models lately, from what I understand. Yeah. For Rackley War, he did it for one of the races they were here. So I think Bubba's looking more towards doing different things rather than driving.
Right.
Well, the news is Jeremy Mayfield is in one of the 92 cars.
Yes.
So I think
2 of them.
they'd be teammates.
Yes. So. In the Outlaw stock.
Yes, correct. And Max Cookson. Now, we've talked about Max Cookson not too long ago with teaming up with Bubba Pollard, bringing him up there for a race. He's coming down and teaming up with Wilson Motorsports for the Snowflake entry.
That's a good group to get tied up with, I got to tell you.
You ain't lying. No matter what kind of late model they got that wins, I mean, they're tough.
Yeah, keep your ears out for that Wilson Motorsports. That comes up with that little controversy we got coming up here in just a little bit. The other one, Jeb Burton, from Alabaster, Alabama, the son of Ward Burton, a 2002 Daytona 500 winner, has also filed an entry with Snowflake.
That is awesome.
Yeah. The names get better.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of does with Derek Thorne teaming up with Paulie Schaefer. All smiles, Schaefer, and the number 7 coming down. He's actually in the All-American 400, and he's coming down for the Snowball Derby in that 7 car.
Wow.
Yeah. He'll be tough. I mean, this is... Bubba said on his podcast that this is the year that he feels is his year to win it.
Well, I hope so.
So, I mean, barring any catastrophes, boy, I sure would like to see that 26 get a Derby win.
Yep.
That would be big.
That would be like the crowning jewel, the ultimate goal. I know it's the ultimate goal he has is to win that.
That and the Winchester 400. He said if he can win both of those, he would actually retire.
Boy, wouldn't it be something if he did both of them? That's it.
Next Winchester's going to have to wait till next year. Huh?
Yeah, he didn't run to Winchester this year.
No. So we've got at least one more year to see this happen.
We're hoping.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of the Winchester, this is the one, and if you remember the Wilson Motorsports and Gio Ruggiero, if that rings any bells. Winchester 400 results and some controversy along with it. Hey, where do you start?
Speaking of getting your bell rung.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that was a rough one. It was not fun for at least one of the competitors anyway, but let's run down the results and at least then we'll discuss how those results came about. The winner, obviously, we talked about Gio Ruggiero. Second place was Cole Butcher. Third place is Gio Ruggiero's new best friend, Stephen Nassing. We'll get into that in a little bit. Fourth was the Minnesota Missile, William Sawalich. Top 5 was rounded out by Dakota Stroop. And then from 6 through 10, Logan Bearden, Chase Berta, Austin Nason, Jake Finch, who happened to be the last car on the lead lap. And then Jordan Miller's rounded out the top 10. 11 through 15 was Jordan Miller, Jake Garcia, Jaden Kratachi, Hendrik Miuga, boy, I'm having a lot of fun with these names. I got to tell you, Brandon Varney and then Noah Gregson. A little bit unusual for him to be, not up to snuff like what we normally expect to. And then Albert Francis, Billy Van Meter, Blake Rowe, Dalton Armstrong, Michael Hind with the best hair in the pits. Ty Majeski, that's really unusual for him.
Yeah.
He had a lot of trouble.
Lost a motor from what I heard.
Chris Munson, John Beach, Evan Varney, and then we had one did not start, J.P. Crabtree in the 42C. 25 total.
25 cars, Winchester 400, and that is for the rifle.
Yep.
You've got all these other trophies. The still
from Wilkesboro.
Yeah,
And grandfather clock from Martinsville.
Yep, and the guitar from Nashville.
Yep. And the rifle from Winchester.
So, and then they're going to go back for another guitar in a week and a half. So, and the Tom Dawson Trophy, got to throw that up there too. That's the big snowball on top of a.
Hey, you get to get hugged by a rattlesnake in
At the Rattler.
Yeah, dude, that look on Bubba's face and that thing, he just closed that, shake his head like, get this thing away from me.
Well, the pro race is a baby Rattler, right?
Right.
The
And
baby
that's
Rattler.
run prior to the Rattler.
Saturday.
So the winner of the pro, the baby Rattler, is there a Rattler snake on that
I
one
don't
too?
think so.
Like
I
a
know
smaller
that.
version of it?
No, I don't think they do it for the baby Rattler. Now, the regular Rattler, they have a guy that walks around there with a rattlesnake and he holds it up. And I'm like, no, dude, get away from me with that thing. I don't trust it. You pop that thing loose and it pops me, I'm going to be mad. Well, speaking of Winchester, though, the big controversy in that race was Nassie took the outside on the last restart. What do you think Ruggiero was going to do? Give it to him?
No, probably not.
Excuse me. He moved him a little, and then the trouble came after the race when Nassie's dad come up yelling at Ruggiero, and Ruggiero went to take off and knocked Nassie's dad on his butt.
Yeah.
Knocked him up in the air pretty good and slammed him to the ground. I mean, he didn't do it intentionally. I want to blame that more on Nassie's dad for running out there on the front straightaway.
Yeah.
You don't have no business being up there. Your son made a mistake. Bubba did the same thing, started the outside. Yeah. Nassie packed air under Bubba. Bubba got loose. Nassie got by. Bubba didn't get mad about it. Didn't try to fight him. But Nassie's dad got knocked on his butt. And because of that, Ruggiero got fined. Nassie got fined. Yeah. They all kind of got in trouble, and they're both on probation. And I don't agree with Ruggiero because all he did was try to get away from the situation. We let the clutch out. The car's on a bank. It's going to lurch.
Right.
But, I mean, and you're in that seat with your helmet on, your Hans device. You can't see that man standing there. You thought he walked away, so he let the clutch out, and he dumped him.
Yeah. One dumping deserves another amount like that.
And the bad part about it was the next day, Donnie Wilson's hauler was vandalized.
Yes, that was stupid.
Both his front tires on his hauler were cut.
Right.
And his personal pickup truck had 2 flat tires. So it's kind of suspicious somebody did something. And if you're going to do stuff like that, then you're, pardon the expression, a jackleg, and you don't need to be in a race car.
Yeah. Any idea who?
Oh, gee, I would never know who would have done something like that. I mean, maybe the guy he angered on the racetrack.
It could be.
I would have cameras on my hauler, like, who was that? Let's see. Yeah. Let's call the sheriff's department and send your butt to jail for vandalism. Don't do stuff like that.
No, and the hauler tires, the tires on the cars are expensive enough, but those hauler tires, they don't give them away either.
Oh, no. It's plus, the damage to, tell them what else they damaged.
Right.
That's ridiculous. Don't do stuff like that, folks. If you're mad at somebody, if y'all want to throw knuckles at one another, leave the cars and the dadgum trucks alone.
Right. Yeah. Leave the track before you do that, too, because that's one reason. That was one of my standard things that I did was I never shot a fight because it doesn't do any good.
Well, Channel 5 News did.
Well,
they got me right in the middle of one at the Derby last year. Car wreck, they whipped down there. We are fighting. So, yeah, that's pretty funny. But, no, honestly, that was kind of crappy. Don't do that. And congratulations, Gio Ruggiero. Hey, he did what he had to do. He didn't wreck him. He didn't rub him. He rubbed him, and rubbing son is racing. Yeah.
Well, we were talking before we went on here locally in our backyard at Five Flags with Nassie and Bubba Pollard coming down to the end. Which lane do you choose? And we got into that discussion in the stands. Why Bubba did take the bottom, and it's probably because if he's up top like Nassie was then, that you might go down there and try to just wash him up into the marbles. And I think that's exactly, after looking at it, I think that's exactly what happened. It was a racing incident. It was strategy, and Gio comes out on top with the win. I think Nassie probably would have done the same thing had Bubba taking the high side and running one in here.
In a
Five Flags.
heartbeat.
Yeah.
In a heartbeat, he would have. You want to win a race, especially, he's dominated the Winchester 400 several times. So, yeah, he needs to quit with that. But we had some other action similar to that. And I'm going to tell you something. These young kids just tearing up equipment.
Yeah. And a lot of commentary has been made about that, too, how they just don't have any respect for equipment or the
Well, why
effort
should
that
they?
people-
They don't have to work on it.
No.
That's what I've said this before. Bill Elliott did with Chase. You tear it up, you're going to fix it.
Right.
And every time you tear up something, you're going to help pay for it and you're going to fix it. And Chase learned, hey, have some empathy on the equipment, because I've got to get in there and work on it. I'm not going to tear the nose off of it, not when I could win the race without tearing the car up.
Yeah. I mean, it hurts to do that, and it hurts your wallet to have to pay for it. So,
Goodness gracious, does it ever?
You wouldn't happen to be referring to that Cars Tour Pro like
Yes, sir, that I
Maybe,
was.
maybe.
Cars Tour, Gavin Burchell and Ashton Higgins coming down with a couple to go. And, Gavin
Somebody
Burchell,
got,
we
somebody
got
got used up.
Swindell Speed Lab Sprint Car Experience got, I think he's maybe fifth or sixth big body or large body or full body car.
He's been in more than that. He's raced a lot of Nashville this year, and he's raced Pensacola 3 times. So he knows better. He just did it and thought he'd get away with it. But he learned.
Yeah.
That's one thing I can say about the Cars Tour. They don't put up with that crap.
No.
Katie Hedinger right hooked Carson Quapple
Yep.
earlier in the race. Carson ended up winning the race, but she got right hooked. She's suspended for a race and has to pay I think a $2,000 fine.
Well, I mean,
And she's on probation.
You'll
for the
learn a
rest
lot
of the season.
quicker if the punishment fits the crime. so to
Yeah,
speak.
you can't right hook people. That's
No.
wrong. I mean, no. I mean, run down and rub on them a little bit. When you start right hooking people, that's when you can seriously injure somebody.
And there's no telling who's coming up behind you. Might get involved and caught up in it, and
Yep.
just
Just because you're mad, he moved you up. And he did. He moved her up, but it was just basically the same thing with Nancy. He just moved her up. And all she had to do was stay in the gas. No, she tried to right hook him, so she got suspended. Then there was a big fight after the race, and several of Gavin Bouchel's crew members are suspended. And and Gavin Bouchel got a big fine out of it.
Yeah.
I think he got a run race. Yeah, he did. He got a 1 race suspension for wrecking the leader. So, and it's like with Nassie and them, a bunch of Nassie's crew members are suspended.
Yeah.
Nassie's dad suspended. Nassie got a fine. Zero got a fine. So, hey.
I think I heard that Nassie's fine was $5,000 and Ruggiero's was $2,500. If I'm not mistaken.
It was. But I mean, these guys got to learn, man.
Yeah.
Those cars are not cheap.
Mm-mm.
And you go in there and tear it up. I mean, I realize you're not paying for it and you're not working on it, but have some respect for the equipment.
And the crew that's got to put it back together.
Oh,
if you
yeah.
tear it
and
up.
that other car, the guy, and you know his name, Thomas, the guy that got dumped by Bouchel,
Ashton Higgins.
Ashton Higgins.
Yeah.
His car's all tore up. I mean, he don't have the money that Gavin Bouchel has. He don't have the money that Rackley War has. So now his car's all tore up, probably needs a clip.
Yeah.
So now he's going to have to tear it all down and fix it. And that's wrong. Don't tear up a man's equipment. If you two Rackley War cars want to kill each other like they did at Five Flags, that's different. They got money. But when you wreck somebody else's and some guy that ain't got a lot of money, it's wrong. So
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, too, with him winning that race, hypothetically, now looking back at it, he didn't, but had he won, might have opened the door for an opportunity to come to run the snowflake.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So now that's out the window, and now their season's probably sitting in the garage, tearing it all apart, getting ready for 2024, when he might have been down here.
they'll
in
probably be
December.
here too. So I mean, but I'm just saying they got the money to do it, but the other team, Higgins, doesn't.
That's who I was talking about.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, yeah.
Because he was leading when Bouchel dumped him.
Right.
Obviously, you can watch the video and argue if you want to, but I mean, tap him once, yeah, I understand, but it didn't get him. But he got him the second time. So,
Well,
but there it goes.
Kip Childress, who's formerly with NASCAR, is the race director for the Cars Tour now, and he did the right thing. Kip, I applaud you. Keep it up.
Yeah. you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Amen to that.
Well, that's going to continue here in another 10 days or so at the All-American 400 in Nashville. All those guys will be back at it.
Yep.
And it's all going to come down to those two. We mentioned Ty Majeski and Cole Butcher, but 8-point difference for the ASA Stars National Tour champion.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now
Yep.
we've got to come up with a nickname for Cole Butcher. We've got the Timinator now. Something creative. I'll work on that.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
meat
work on
cleaver
that
or
one.
something like that.
Yeah, you're good with that. I think you're 2 for 2 with the Minnesota Missile and the Timinator. So you got 2. You work on Coal Butcher for next week.
Yep.
2023 ACT champion DJ Shaw. Congratulations for taking that win at the New London Waterford Speed Bowl up there in Connecticut. Congratulations, DJ. We've mentioned you a couple of times, and you just keep knocking on the door and getting it done. We're happy for you, and just keep it up. Carson Hocevar makes news here with the Short Track Guys podcast. News launches a late model program in 2024, and guess who he's got behind the wheel? A third-generation racer, Chase Penzano, will join forces with NASCAR's star Carson Hocevar under the newly minted Carson Hocevar Racing banner for 2024. He has been impressing in the Delaware Speedway's weekly pro late model division, touring Ontario, and the APC United Late Model Series in 2023. So Carson's had his eyes on it, and they've made this deal come through, and Chase is probably one of those youngsters that's going to make a name for himself through a big-time banner.
Yeah, probably so. I mean, if Carson Hocevar chose him, he sees something big in him.
Yes.
Because Hocevar could have chose from a lot of other drivers, but he chose this young man. So there's something there. And Hocevar's coming into his own in NASCAR. For a while there, I was worried about him because he tore up a lot of equipment, but he just won. Carson Hocevar just won recently in Homestead, Miami, in the trucks.
Right.
So, I mean, he's driving for Legacy Motor Club, and he's got some other things. So, hey, congratulations to that young man. Hopefully he does a lot. Maybe we'll see him next year at Five Flag Speedway.
Yeah. Carson Hocevar has spent a lot of time down here in this area, and it's where I personally have gotten to know Carson throughout, here in Mobile, and off he went, and now he's, in one of those tiers in NASCAR and making a name for himself. And now he's got a late model program, which is probably, you're right, Jim, I think he's just carried over from his deal in his days in the late model program with his family. So we'll see what happens. And hey, you can't go wrong with a first name Chase. So
No,
and I like that because he's keeping short track alive by keeping the late model team. So thank you for that, Carson. We appreciate you.
Yeah, because you got to build up from the bottom. You got to pick these new drivers as soon as you spot them and get them on the road. Yeah.
Yep.
Because if you don't, there's a good chance somebody else will.
Well, I mean, and plus you can get money from Cup teams for being a development team. So he's not stupid. He's probably already got that lined up, I'm sure.
No doubt.
Yeah, and as if you hadn't listened to last week's episode, we had a little sickling on our hands, and that was me. So we had to do something, and there was a race this past weekend up at the Dells Raceway Park, the Halloween 150. With the ASA Midwest Tour, and we had one of the drivers on. We have met down here a few times from Hubertus, Wisconsin. John DeAngelis Jr. Started in the snowflake and came down and tried to gather some funds and ended up coming down. And I think his third trip, and through that episode, if I can remember, his third trip, he actually made the Derby and ended up doing really well. I hope to see him back soon. And hope to get him back on as a guest soon. But we put it up for his chance to three-peat. He won in 2021, 2022, and he was going to win his third in a row. And so if you didn't get a chance to listen to that episode and learn a little bit more about John and his endeavors in the late models, do so. It is a good one. We do have results from the Halloween 150 there at the Dells. Unfortunately, John DeAngelis, with 30 laps into the race, something let go in the drivetrain, and he had to retire while leading, which was disappointing. I know for all of us, we were really rooting for him. He did post 26th position, and I know I don't want to say that really, but John, we're big fans. You gave it all. Hope to see you down here for the Derby week one. I know it's not going to be this year, but maybe next year if things work out, and hope to get you on soon. Casey Johnson, on the other hand, started fourth and ended up winning the race with Gabe Summers, Max Collar, Ryan Farrell, and Luke Fenhouse. Another guy's one of those SRX drivers that was up there in Wisconsin that gave a little eye-opener to a lot of race fans, for sure.
Yeah. He got everybody's attention with that run, no doubt.
Congratulations.
Yeah, Rich Bickle coming out of retirement, I thought, ended up 19th, not like the second place he had a week or two prior to that. But Rich Bickle was back in the race car in that famous 45, getting it done. Still finished back in the pack, but it's always good to see those guys. And Rich Bickle, I think he and
Ken Schrader.
No, he had a bet with somebody. It was $1,000 that he would stay retired, and if he didn't, it was $1,000, and he ended up coming back and giving the $1,000 to, I can't remember who it was.
I can't remember who it is. I don't remember that one. I hadn't heard that bet. But hey, welcome back, Rich. We missed you, man. Glad to have you back in a car, man. He's one of the heck. He's still fast, can still get the job done. So. Why would you quit? I mean, if you got people backing you, go race. Enjoy it while you can. We don't know how much longer we're going to be here.
Yeah, and speaking of being at a racetrack, I mean, there's a little something coming up here at the first week in December. You're more than welcome to come down and join us for that one, too.
Exactly. So we can get in the field for the Derby, of course. Yeah. I mean, the only 3, 4, and 5-time winners of Snowball Derby.
That's right. Love to see him here.
Oh, yeah, me too. That's awesome.
Yeah, while we're congratulating DJ Saul and everybody else with those championships, there's one that's just a little east of here in Fairhope we've had on as well, and he is?
Grant Enfinger. Yes. He's in the top 4 truck series going into Phoenix, so he's going to have a shot at the truck title this year for GMS Racing, who's going out of business.
Oh, God.
And that won't be the only truck team that'll win it. It could win a championship. Go out of business. Happened to Bill Davis Racing. When Johnny Benson won the truck title, they were closing their doors the next day. So we hate to see that, but we sure would love to see a local boy win a NASCAR championship. Come on, Grant, get it done, baby. Let's go. Fear the finger.
If you're going to go out on top.
That's right. And, of course, he's already signed up for another team next year. They'll announce that soon, so it'd be good to see where he's going to land next year. Yeah. But he's one of the top truck drivers, so I'm sure somebody will put him in some good equipment.
Very much like Derek Thorne winning the Derby last year and then having Campbell Motorsports collapse out from under him.
Yeah, that's true. But, it's funny is talking about Derby winners. I was watching the Cup race the other day. I was listening to it, and I was counting the number of Snowball Derby winners. Christopher Bell, who won the last Cup race, Snowball Derby champion.
Yes.
Chase Elliott, Snowball Derby champion. Kyle Busch, Snowball Derby winner.
Right.
I mean, and Willie B, who's hadn't won one, but he was there a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of these guys in that race have won the big show at Snowball Derby before they were ever famous?
Right. I mean, that's a ton of them.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, it seems like it opens the door for most everybody that wins it.
It does. I mean, they're driving for good teams when they win it, but like Eric Jones, another example, he driving for his family and ended up winning the Snowball Derby. I could sit here and go through this, but it's super cool to see that and knowing that our little short track down here in Pensacola, Florida, has spawned so many Cup winners.
Yeah, absolutely.
And champions, Cup champions.
Right.
So that's pretty neat. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, we'll have to wait until the first weekend of December of a Snowball Derby. That is the 56th annual Snowball Derby on Sunday to find out if it opens another door for some of these drivers. And hopefully it's a Bubba Pollard.
Oh, yeah. Go Bubba.
See if it launches another career.
Yeah.
Well, folks, that's a wrap up another Wednesday episode here in the Short Track Guys podcast studio. We do appreciate all the listeners. Thank you, Story Bleich Roofing, for your sponsorship and your involvement in Crown Stocks. And we look forward to continued success and some more collaboration here throughout 2023 and into the 24 season. Merchandise, hats and shirts are available as a combo. Check out our Facebook page. Short Track Guys podcast on Facebook. Get in touch with any one of us,
right?
Yes.
And we will take care of you for sure. We'll have them out there probably as a preview.
We'll bring some out and hang them up for the preview. So come see me in the 07 Can'tQuitFishing.com all pools sportsman. Come give us a look.
Right on. All right, guys, until next Wednesday, it's always a pleasure to get and have some fun here talking short track racing in this little studio. But I think all we have to do left until next Wednesday is give it a 1, 2, 3.
Let's go, Brandon. Good night, everybody.
Be strong, America.
Thanks for listening.